even Jesus said this, right? We're going to hear about wars and rumors of wars and famines. Like, there's always going to be bad stuff happening until he comes back. The issue is that today we just have so many viral clips of it. Like, so we see it. And it is so easy to put together a montage of like all the bad stuff that's happening. And then it's so easy then to create this narrative that like, man, now's the time to be urgent. But it's always been, since the Great Commission, it's always been time to be urgent about making disciples.
Our world conversations and news feeds have been dominated by troubling news. There's grief, death, assassinations, war, racism, immigration. Even on a local stage or a worldwide stage, there is a dark world out there. And how, as Christians, do we respond to this? I feel like in this episode, it is important that we talk about the topic today, which is courage. Courage during dark times. C.S. Lewis said it like this: courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at its testing point, which means at the point of its highest reality. I think it's important that we talk about courage, especially for you and for church planners and for pastors, for any Christian out there who faces a dark world. Thanks for watching the Disciple Standard podcast. Hope you enjoy this episode.
The future is now.
Welcome back to the Disciple Standard podcast. I'm your anchorman, your host, Aaron. I'm a pastor here at Sunlight in St. Lucie West, and we've got the boys are back in town here. We've got the Sultan of Sound, Minister of Music, Worship Director of the St. Lucie West campus, Seron Brown. Why are you throwing up gang signs right now?
Is this Worship Director? Is this right? Worship Director?
That's West Side. That's what? Okay. Okay. All right. It was backwards. Well, glad to have you back, Seron. It's been a couple months here. And then we've got, of course, the wise one himself, Pastor Zach Olson. Welcome back to the pod.
Thanks. If I had like a sign with my hands that I'd throw up, what would I do? Like, what would fit me?
Wise one? I'll just do this. One.
Well, you could do this again, but then that's double. That's double. You know what I mean?
I can't even get my fingers that way.
Yeah, I don't say from you. It's all good.
I just say it doesn't fit me, but I felt like I
Kelly, you know how you can do this? Kelly can do that with these fingers without moving them. He can cross them without doing that.
Got to get her on the podcast.
Can you do that?
Well, now that's talent. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. You should encourage it in
That's right.
Okay, so by the way, I made a reference. Check out the Patreon where these two have a debate on whether or not they should encourage their children into something that they enjoy for their future or not. I'm doing it a disservice, but it's a hot topic. A lot of hot takes on that. Patreon's link is down below. It's only less than a cup of coffee a month. Anyway, Zach, I want to go to you first. Before we talk about what we've got on the docket here, which is courage, Jake, if you want to zoom in on the corner pocket sleeve or whatever of Zach here, he's got a little, I don't know, what is that, a device?
Device, yeah.
Could you explain that device and tell me how it's working for you?
Yeah, so this is I think it's called a B. It's like an AI transcriber. So it just listens to all my conversations throughout the day and transcribes them and summarizes them so that at the end of the day I get like a summary with all of my to-dos.
How's it been working?
So far, pretty good. It's not like, so it picks up a lot of conversations. So I think you and a couple other people were having a conversation in the hall outside of my office yesterday, and it recorded that. So it's kind of weird because
what were we talking about?
it'll give me to-dos that I don't even remember talking about. So that's part of, like, you have to, I don't know, be discerning when you use it, but.
You can't adjust the mic sensitivity?
No. It's like all or nothing.
Okay, so I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
What made you take this leap, and how's it been working for you, like in productive? Have you seen a spike in productivity? This has been a couple days only, so.
Yeah, so this is like my second day wearing it.
Oh, it's your second day.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I did it is because I like details and remembering them are my greatest weakness. And so, like, I'll have conversations with people on Sunday regularly where I'm like, hey, let's get together, let's talk, I'll call you. And then another Sunday goes by and I'm like, I forgot completely. So I thought, if I could have like something that was just recording everything and then would give me reminders, that would be really helpful. So far, I think it's going to be helpful. But the downside is I have to tell everybody, like, hey, I'm recording this.
That is a big,
which is such an awkward conversation.
super.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I feel like it's recording me visually. Like it's like
It is. It's getting your social security number too.
it just looks like it. Well, if it's recording a conversation that you're not even in, like down the hall, that's like is that like not a thing? Like
So I don't know. So I know in the state of Florida you can't audio record.
you're gonna legalize me right now. You're gonna
No, I'm just saying. Look, you can't audio record people's voices without their consent.
Okay.
So like I have a dash cam in my truck. I had to turn the audio off because I didn't want to say, "Hey, Seron, by the way, everything we're talking about now is being recorded." Okay. Transcribed feels like a gray area. But I'm telling people, I'm telling everybody, like, "Hey, by the way, this is transcribing."
Yeah.
So
Is it? Do you feel weird like when
I feel
like
stupid.
Yeah.
What is this thing? Oh, this looks stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like it's a health thing for you too. Like,
Right over my heart. Maybe that's why it's
Where
been
would I
took
put
me.
that? Because I don't wear pocket.
you want
stuff.
one too?
Yeah.
Do I want one?
They
I
have a
could give it
bracelet
try.
version.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like bracelets.
So, but I don't like bracelets. Like I barely like wearing a watch.
I like bracelets. I
Yeah, I
like
don't
watches.
But I'm not you.
Yeah. There's also like necklaces or pendants or whatever too, right?
Yeah. But I thought I don't want to wear a necklace either.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks even more like
like not
like
you,
that.
right?
Necklaces?
it's just not me.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Like what, Jake? Like
Man.
what, Zach?
I don't,
Every single time I think I know Zach, I learn more stuff about Zach. I'm like, I don't know this man.
Well,
Yeah.
it seems like Zach is very you're very like open to trying new things, right? Like
Oh, for
that's-
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So how much does that cost?
this is $50.
$50.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as far as I know, there's no subscription. It just like downloads
Just
to your
for
phone.
full-time surveillance for yourself, huh?
Exactly.
That's good. And then
Yep.
like a so
I think we should all try it.
yeah. You could try a nice chip implanted in the back of your neck too if you want. You could
I'm
do
down.
that. You could get that going on.
Like
I
when
would
they were like,
put it in
you're
my
gonna
wallet.
get like a little thing in your wrist and you can unlock doors. I'm like, I'm down.
Oh, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I keep hitting that.
we're just bringing in the end times here, aren't we, guys?
Bro.
Just like
Not at
just
all.
let it just
No.
I go up to my car
working
and my
smarter.
car knows me because it's built into my hand. No keys. I go to the store, it knows me. It's built into my hand.
Yes.
Come on. What are we talking about? I go to the airport.
What are we talking about?
Why do I need a
You
passport?
you can't have it on your forehead or your hand. That's the mark of the beast. Anywhere else, though.
Anywhere.
elbow
Right here. Right
over
here.
your heart. You know, that's
Fingertip,
fine too.
finger. Yeah. But, so like, just to go on this comes off of, we had a meeting with all the campus pastors 2 weeks ago or so,
Yes.
and talking about like recording all our meetings and everything. And so at our weekly staff meeting, our level 10s this week, I pulled a microphone out to record that. Because I think the more that we have captured, the more AI can help us to remember, to set goals, to stay on track with goals, to share information across campuses. Like I was telling you, I would love to just be able to say, hey, what is St. Lucie West doing for Easter this year? And instead of calling you and having you like interrupt your day, I just see your level 10s and it says, here's a summary of what their plan is.
Yeah. Maybe one day we could get it to a point, and one day soon maybe, where it records all the meetings of everywhere, transcribes them, sends them out to the relevant people on a timely basis, like once a week or once a day or whatever. I don't know.
Like a beginning of the week dashboard.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
cool.
So and then like if it goes to me or Scott, like now he's got a pulse on all the different campuses or whatever. I don't know. That'd be kind of helpful, I think. But that's separate from it walking around with you all the time.
Yeah.
How do your kids and family feel about this?
I'm
Wife?
using it at home.
Yeah, I don't use it at home. I take it
Oh,
off when I
okay.
get home.
Oh, okay.
But I also wanted to, because I think. So I've said, I don't know who I've told this to, but
Now the world.
I come home and Casey, my wife, is like, "Hey, how was your day?" And I say, "Good."
You could just be like, Casey, listen.
So
Just send
I
it-
told her
send
this.
it
I had
to-
this conversation. I was like, "Look, I bought this thing, and it's going to record everything, so that when I get home and you ask how my day is, I can just give you a summary."
Yeah, I don't even have to talk
She
to
looked
you.
me deadpan in the eye. She's like, I don't want the info.
I
don't
can
want the
see
info.
her doing that, and for some reason I love it.
Yeah, and I get it. But for me, I think, because this is how my brain works, like as
so
soon as I
efficient.
get in my truck, I don't think about church.
Do you put music on?
No, I usually listen to a fantasy football podcast, but or How Stuff Works. Anyway, but then I get home. So Marissa Van Ploeg, she's been pregnant for months. Casey found out like a couple weeks ago. Scott told us forever ago, And I don't think about it because I don't think about church when I'm at home. She goes to this GEMS leaders event or whatever, and Andrea talks about it, and Casey is like, woohoo, clapping everything. And every woman she said in that auditorium was like, so then I got it at home, of course. Why didn't you tell me? It's like, I don't know. I don't think about it. I don't think about home stuff at work. And so I thought, if I have this is like the bridge.
That is an amazing talent.
What?
Not think about
It's incredible.
home stuff at work.
Oh, really?
How do you do that?
Oh,
That's crazy.
I think about stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's actually like squirrels.
I get like epiphanies about how to fix problems while at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll need
And then I call Jake. Jake.
Yeah, we need to develop that a little more. All right, let's move on. Let's get to the topic of today, which is courage. So courage is something that I think is really timely and relevant right now. We're going through Joshua, basically the book about courage, or at least that's a major theme throughout the book. And so tell us about just your thoughts on the need for courage. Let's just start here. Need for courage, or even the timeliness of the sermon series. I think this is more relevant to us at Sunlight than anyone else listening to the podcast. Like, let's just start the conversation. I got some things to react to and definitely some questions. So let's just start the conversation. How do you define courage? When do you need it? And what about the sermon series are you looking forward to?
So I got to preach on Joshua 1 last week or 2 weeks ago. And, it's God says there's like, do not be afraid or do not be terrified, but be strong and courageous, for I'll be with you wherever you go. And I made the point there, and I think probably most preachers do, is, being afraid is okay. Because like if you're working with electricity or you're like in a war, like you should be afraid because there's a serious threat to your life. But being terrified is what that Hebrew word means in Joshua. And it's more of like imagining or like losing all hope because you're imagining a future where God isn't sovereign or present or working. And so when God is telling Joshua that he's going to go over into this new land and bring the nation with him, he's telling him like, stay close to me. I'm going to stay close to you, but stay close to me. And don't like lose your wits. Don't lose your hope. And so I think that's what courage is courage is making brave and bold moves, even though you're afraid, because you know God is with you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Seron, when's the time when you had to be courageous?
I had to look up the definition of courage. I don't think I knew the exact 100% definition, so I had to look it up.
Okay.
Quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficult danger, pain, without fear, bravely.
Well, how about bravely? That's how about Zach's
bravely, the ability to
definition
do
of
something
courage?
that frightens one. So I guess courage is just, I just see it as, because a lot of times you like we do things or procrastinate on things because I guess we're afraid. So just be courageous and just start doing it. What was your question? I'm so sorry. Because I was really hung up on I didn't know the definition of courage. And it's a word I felt like I use. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think you should know the definition?
Yeah, like the true definition of courage.
Well, Zach defined it as a means of doing something even if you don't feel like or afraid of afraid of doing it. So something similar.
And then he said like they felt like that God wouldn't be. Yeah.
It's just doing what you need to do bravely.
Yeah.
Even if you're afraid.
Yeah.
Because you know God's with you.
Yeah. I would just say the way I see it is courage in my own life is just getting stuff done. It's hard to start a task because sometimes you're scared you'll fail. So just start it. Just be courageous with that and do the task.
So C.S. Lewis defines courage or at least it places courage as courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point. Okay. Which means at the point of its highest reality. I'll give you an example. So these other virtues, courage is a virtue, but there are some other virtues out there. So like, let's say honesty. Honesty is a virtue. However, honesty is only able to show itself when it's tested. So when they say, hey, did you steal this? Now you could be honest or you could be fearful, but you need courage to be honest. You need courage. So courage shows itself to reveal the other virtues in life. This is something that I think we as Christians need to assume. Jake, if you could show that first picture, I'm going to show you guys a picture and then a video and then I got some questions for you. And just react. We'll just first react to this first picture. Here we go. It's obviously it's a white sheep amongst a lot of black sheep. The closer you get to God, the weirder you'll seem to people. Satan's strategy is simple: make sin look normal and make righteousness look weird.
That's interesting. That makes me think of those people on the street corners right now that are all looking for Person Lucy holding signs. And you know who I'm talking about? Have you seen them? They're like on
US,
this corner.
US
they're on US
1.
1. They're over on like Port St. Lucie Boulevard. Yeah. They're like all over the place, and they're like saying like, "Turn to God." And it's in English and it's in Spanish, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. But they're being like super courageous about it, I guess, and not caring what other people think. Which they are literally the white sheep. In no one walks like that in Port St. Lucie. They're standing on the sidewalk, holding up a signage or like driving past.
Yeah, they might care what people think, but they're still doing it.
No, that's it.
What do you think about this? Right, Satan's strategy is simple: make sin look normal and righteousness look weird. Is that prevalent today in your life, in culture? How do you see that play out?
I wouldn't doubt that it's Satan's strategy, but I also know this isn't the Bible.
Right, this isn't the Bible.
But it's also just the dynamic of being in a fallen world, is that there's darkness and light, and to the darkness, the light is invasive and problematic. So I think it's just how our world is. And so as we are walking closer with God, for lack of a better way, it just sit with the metaphor, like we're shining more brightly, we are going to stick out more like that sheep.
I think Seron brings up an interesting point where he said that these guys are like bold and courageous. Is there a difference between like bombastic and bold and like brazen or offensive versus courageous? So like, for instance, like I could be courageous and feel like the need for courage to go up to somebody and say like, you need to repent and believe in God and do the whole like hellfire and brimstone thing. Is that courageous, or is that like just being offensive?
No, so what I would say is like that one of the key elements of courage is that you are honest with yourself about the consequences of what you're going to do, or like you're honest with yourself about what the situation is. So I mean, just imagine like D-Day. Two soldiers in one landing boat. The first one sees the guns, hears the bombs, sees the planes, all that, knows that this is very life-threatening, but is saying, look, I'm here to serve my country. I'm here to like stand up for freedom. I'm going to go into this. That's a lot different than like a guy who's next to him who is just like, I can't wait to kill Germans, and like, I don't know, maybe they go together, but it just seems like courage is more like you're aware and you're doing it anyway.
In that case,
but doing something courageously, and if you're yelling in their face, let's say like in the fire and brimstone, just because you're doing courageously doesn't make it right if it's offensive.
Maybe there's a selflessness
like
aspect.
there's no tact to it.
Yeah.
So exactly.
It's to be others focused. Yeah, maybe that's what I was trying to say.
Because when those people are going around yelling at people, like in the because that happened to me before at the fair, I was like, I don't know if that's for them or for God in that sense.
I was just thinking, if somebody came up to me in the fair and was like, tell me I need to repent.
Oh, dude, I was like 13.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm telling Dad on you.
I'm like, I'm part of your team. I'm part of your team.
Relax.
Here's another video I want to show you guys. This is I guess a trailer for another podcast, but the stuff that he brings up I think is very timely and relevant, especially for you, Zach, because he brings up AI. So let's bring that up, the wake up one, Jake.
Wake up. You're totally aware of what's happening with AI in our country, what's going on in our government, what's going on in Israel, what's going on in the Gaza Strip. You're awake that way. You're asleep in the spirit. I don't want anyone ever looking at me and screaming at the great white throne judgment. Why didn't you tell me the truth? If you associate with unbelievers and you tether yourself to unbelievers, you will start falling asleep. We live in an onslaught of worldliness, of death. It's all masked with delight, happiness, laughter. I'm concerned for all these people that are watching this program thinking this is normal, when in reality, it's death.
Okay, so This guy is basically saying there's a lot of different aspects in the world. There's darkness in the world. You've got the Gaza, you got Israel, you got racism, you got immigration problems, you got assassinations, you got all this kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, Christians, he feels, and maybe you guys feel too, Christians are staying quiet. Christians are, being rewarded for staying silent. Where have you personally felt pressure to stay quiet, especially amongst a whole bunch of things that might require gospel truth to be spoken into?
I think it's hard to speak on some of that stuff if you don't know all of the details. So why I can't raise a loud voice and opinion on something I don't know. I could give a surface level opinion, but that could be stomped out with fact so fast. So sometimes it's worth being quiet around. And how many, with those current events and news, how many Christian people are like really well versed in like that news and stuff like that? And it's hard to take in on AI. It's hard to take in what's fact and what's fiction. There's news coming from like so many places. It's so opinionated, and you could just like, I watch Philip DeFranco a lot, and he gives very one-sided news. And I've like over the years, I'm like, okay, this news is very one-sided, but I like the news because I take it as this is the news. And I try to remove his opinion out of it because I just like the flow that he gives. But like when you're watching other people, they're like, it's like almost all their opinion. It's not really news anymore. It's like, this is how I feel about it, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
And then their feelings end up becoming your feelings. So then I don't know if you're really versed on the thing or you're just versed on that person's feeling. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know how to think about this one, or at least how to put my thoughts together on it, because on the one hand, I see him, and there's a big part of that feels like, it feels fear-mongery.
Yeah.
And the reason is because, man, look, realistically, even Jesus said this, right? We're going to hear about wars and rumors of wars and famines. Like, there's always going to be bad stuff happening until he comes back. The issue is that today we just have so many viral clips of it. Like, so we see it. And it is so easy to put together a montage of like all the bad stuff that's happening. And then it's so easy then to create this narrative that like, man, now's the time to be urgent. But it's always been, since the Great Commission, it's always been time to be urgent about making disciples.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I think, yeah, how does it take courage to like live in the world today? I don't think it's as hard as it looks. Like, it takes a lot of courage to have like a big platform. But at the same time, like just day to day, when you're having interactions with people, have the courage to do the little things about like, being a witness for Christ, talking to people in your network already. Local level, one-on-one.
So let's just zoom out then. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. We have so much access to like all this news and stuff more than ever before. Something happens right now, say a shooting happens. Mm-hmm. Like when I was a kid, you wouldn't know about that until like the end of the day. It has to like go through its cycle. Then it'll be on 11 News. Shooting happens right now. Someone's live streaming it on Twitter. Someone's in there. They're live streaming it. I'm getting like the first-hand account. And then there's like 3 AI videos, and I don't even know if these are actually in it. Yep. So it's like a lot of disinformation. It's hard to know who to trust. So it's hard to speak on stuff.
So let's just zoom out then. Is it hard to live boldly for Jesus? Let's go base level. All this stuff, all this news, all of maybe fear-mongering or not fear-mongering, or just at least a reality, right? Is it hard, or how hard is it? Well, is it hard? Is it hard to live boldly for Jesus?
On a local level, I think no. Like someone needs prayer, then you pray for them. I would say like most times when I go to the grocery store, for some reason the cashier is always telling me about some problem they have in their life. That moment, invite them to church, see if they have a church home, and in that moment pray for them. Someone was just telling me that their sister lost their baby. I was literally just at Publix just trying to get some grapes. Yep. Just like, here's that. Yeah. It was like, what's your sister's name? I used to have this habit of putting it in my phone to pray for them, and I'll pray for them in the end of the night. And I've been trying to pray for people like on the spot now, which is because I always found it weird to like, I'm going to now take this moment in front of everyone and pray for them on the spot. I talked about this in prose. I don't know if you were Jake when I talked about it, Jake. That I would say, oh, I'll pray for you, and I'll put in the thing, and that's cool because I do pray for them. But I think there's something about doing it in the moment.
Yeah.
There's courage. So, like locally, I think it's important to be courageous locally. How can I affect the world stage? I'm like one person. I can affect it here in Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the places where I would feel the most needing courage or being the most courageous is just the priorities that we set as a family. And it's a big pull to have your kids being like involved in everything, or for your kids to have like the clothes that all the other kids have. And I think one of the things my wife does is we have like these set prayers that we pray every month for our kids, and it rotates around different themes. And one is that we are okay being unpopular because we're following Christ and not our culture. And so I think, it's not like we have this battle often, but there are sure plenty of times where like, I want my kids to be great at sports. Yeah, I want them to be great at school, all that kind of stuff. I want everything that you're supposed to want for your kids. But also to say, okay, but we're going to keep Sunday separate. We're going to keep dinner time sacred. Sacred, that's a little over the top.
No, sacred, dude.
We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it like a thing, a sacred thing. But I don't know. I think our culture is like, it's pretty open.
Here's my personal take. I feel like sometimes that Christians in America and modern American church don't live a lifestyle that requires courage. I'm going to say that blatantly, but I think more nuancedly is like we don't do enough to live a lifestyle that actually requires much courage at all. At least for myself, I think that if we talk about like the levels of courage, maybe it takes some courage to pray for somebody, and I'm not trying to diminish what you're doing, like in Publix for grapes and pray for somebody out there, or whatever. I don't want to kind of diminish your guys' versions of courage, but for me, I just think we'll get to this eventually. But there are some things where, like, there's abortion clinics and abortions that are happening. What does real courage look like there? Or like, we have Fort Pierce right up north of us, and there's like drugs are rampant or whatever, or in Miami where drugs are rampant there, or in I don't know, where, like it seems to me, and I reflect on this myself. I live in a nice home, in a community, and it's not gated, but I'm sure we want one. We want a security guard there. My kids go to private Christian school. I'm a pastor at a church. This is my own personal conviction. Am I living a life that requires even much courage? This is, should I have to chase that?
I don't think you have to chase it. Do you feel called to it? That's different.
I feel like there's a problem when I don't need a lot of courage, that I'm comfortable. That's the problem. I feel like if I'm too comfortable, something's a little off.
Yeah. So I think, how much courage should you be expected to use as a Christian daily?
Let me react with a question. Why does God repeatedly say, "Do not fear, do not fear, take courage, take heart"? It's repeated often in Joshua. So it says to me that if he has to repeat it so often, that means he's almost expecting a lifestyle that needs to be repeated so often.
Yeah. But think about it this way, like, when does God say it? So in Joshua, it's when he's telling Joshua and the Israelites to make this huge conquest into a promised land, where one day, when they're moved into this land flowing with milk and honey, they're going to eat from vineyards they didn't plant and live in houses they didn't build. So courage to comfort. Like, God really is bringing his people to comfort. And so there's one. The next one is not the next one, but Mary and Joseph is another example. Do not be afraid. Well, what is he saying? It's not don't be afraid to go to the well to get water because you're going to be safe and you're going to have to witness. No, he's like, you're going to be pregnant with the Son of God, and it's not by Joseph. And so, like, your community is going to look at you like you did something really bad. But have courage because I'm with you and I'm working. So I think where we can run into a kind of a mistake with reading the Bible is that, like, all those, like, do not be afraid means that our lives have to be all these, like, critical moments where we need courage every day to face it. But in between the events of Scripture where God's saying that, there's a lot of, like, normal time that happens. And so it's these big moments that we really need to have courage in. So when we're tested, right? So, like, there are going to be moments, and we all face them, where it could be a conflict with a family. It could be just a moment in history where we have to stand up and be the courageous ones. But I don't think that my life is, like, incomplete, or my walk with Christ is incomplete because I have a car that's not going to break down. I've got a house that has locks on it. So what I mean? Like, it's not all the time.
Yeah, so let me two things. You mentioned two examples here. First was Joshua, and where they are taking courage to take over land so that they could get into comfort. To me, the comfort is not sought here. It's like what the promised land represents is life with God in heaven, right? So, like,
for us, for them, it was a reality that pointed to another reality.
Right. Yeah. Right. But for us, it'd be pointing to heaven, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So to the promised land, this is like life after this life, and for them, it's like the wilderness, and then, like, taking courage into the promised land. I think that is an example where if we find comfort here too much, like, I'm not trying to live on the extremes. I'm saying too much. When's the last time we need courage? Like, at least for myself. Can I answer for myself? I'm, like, at the pulpit, and that to me is a safe space. Like, right. This is my house. Sure. This is my people. This is my family. Are you looking for
something specific?
No, I'm saying.
Or are you looking at something specific? Like something that's happening out there specifically that people are being, what?
Yours and my lifestyle.
But what are you comparing it to? What are the courageous acts that you want it to be?
Yeah, so that's fine. I think I could draw up a couple of specific instances. The easiest one is the Charlie Kirk incident. You need courage at some level to be debating, weekly, people who could bring anything to you at any given topic or any time. That's courage. I think that's a level of courage that's shown there.
Yeah, I think after debating so many times, do you think he still needed courage to do it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But my point is he enters into the square. This is reminiscent of Paul. Paul went around to different what would be places of learning, and he debated people over and over for I think 2 years or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, that's an example. I think another one where you could go public debate is where you're, like, on YouTube. Just speaking as someone on YouTube, I feel like that's like a public square. I think whenever you interact with non-Christians, there is an opportunities for courage, and maybe that's what I'm getting to. Is my life, and I'm not saying yours or any other Christians, is my life so curated with non-Christians that I don't need courage anymore?
I had this problem the other day. Oh my gosh, you're in my brain right now. So, last Sunday when I was like, I didn't want to go to your house, and I was like, where are all my non-sunlight friends? Where are all my non-Christian friends? What happened to them? So I was making a list of all of them, and they're like, you're all like in school, and they're not here in Port St. Lucie anymore. I was like, I don't have friends outside of my Christian space. Almost all my friends are Christian. There's no one to talk to. There's no one to debate with. The last holdout was Cody, and he's now like super Christian. He's like super Christian. So there's literally like no one left, and I was kind of sad about it.
Is that a problem?
I think it is.
That's my point.
But I think on the local level, you just should, like, go out and make friends, and, like, Christian friends, non-Christian friends, they ask you to do something you don't want to do, you tell them, no, I don't believe in that. But you still invite them over to your house and you minister to them that way. That takes courage to do that. I was literally, that's so funny. You were like in my brain.
I'll tell you what, like,
why do I not have friends outside of outside of my Christian sphere? I don't have any non-Christian friends right now.
I think,
and that's like, I'm using that, like, obviously I have like people who I've talked to and stuff like that. But right now, like people who are like real close friends, the last one, it was Cody, and he's now like praying for me, and I'm crying. I'm like,
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think personality is part of this. I don't crave moments to be courageous in. I'm naturally attuned to I like when things are pretty peace and chill. Now, does that mean that I can't be courageous? No, I'm just not looking for it. And it doesn't disturb me that there's not enough of those moments in my life.
Should it disturb you?
I don't think so. Why?
Well, because
Why is courage and courageous moments, or we'll call them conflict moments because they're not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can be courageous or not. But why do those conflict moments, why does that make my discipleship better?
Because it brings clarity to what I think comfort and distraction bring in this world. I feel like every time I've had to exercise true courage, I'm really dependent on God. There are other times where peace and chill, I love it. I feel so close to God. I'm someone who loves the blessings of God so much. Please don't take it away. I feel you. Sure. I feel your presence. I love it. But then there are other times. I'll give you examples. Where on mission trips, I was scared to talk in another language to somebody, and I was I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm trying to say it, and I'm stumbling through it, and I felt so close to God there. Maybe just zooming out, I have just this greater conviction that Port St. Lucie and Sunlight is this crazy bubble, and it frustrates me, honestly. I'm really torn up about the malaise. I mean, I preached on this a little bit this Sunday, right? And I could have gone deeper into this, quite honestly, but I was running up on time there. But it was just this glazed over, I feel like, at least me personally, I have this glazed over reality of hey, we could be doing more, or maybe we should be doing more. Not that I'm trying to earn my salvation or anything like that, but that there's an urgency. And why shouldn't I feel this angst to go into places where they're not Christian, or there's a lack of Christianity or lack of God, and go into there? And then that's when I can activate courage, right? That's when it is. But it just seems safe. I don't know. This is my tension. It seems too safe, too easy. Everything was too good. I don't know.
I think God's calling you to something.
Yeah, probably.
So Mary and Joseph, no doubt, had neighbors, and the angel did not come to them, right? They did not suffer a moment of crisis where they needed to have courage, but Mary did, because God was calling her to something. So if you have that unsettledness in you, it could be because there's a moment of growth or transition or something that God is preparing you for, where maybe that's not the season that I'm in. And so my whole point is, I don't need to go looking for moments to be courageous, because they're going to find me when they find me. And the real test of character is if you're courageous when you weren't prepared to be. It's not I want to be courageous, let me go find places to prove that.
Yeah, no.
Right? So I think, I have no urge or desire to be courageous, to have a moment where I need to be courageous. But when it happens to me, because it will, the test of my character is going to be that I do it.
I think it shows in different areas too. Pastor Scott's not here with us right now. He's in Nigeria. I almost said that like he's dead. But I think it took a lot of courage for him to write the overtures that he did, or bring the stuff that he needed to bring in Synod, or to be hey, guys, something is wrong here. We need to sound the alarm. And then all of this stuff, he starts getting all kinds of feedback. I'm going to say it in a lighter sense. Feedback is a good way to put it. But that's something that takes courage. It's stepping out and expanding, or this I don't know. It's just one of those things. Maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe something is festering in me that is unsettled and needs to be.
So I think the lack of bravery and courageousness, if that's the way, is for you to ignore it. Right?
Say that one more time.
If you've got an unsettledness and you're why I should be doing more, for you to suppress that and ignore it, that's what the unhealthy kind of comfort does. So that would be disobedience to say, no, I'm not going to do it. I like my comfortable
Oh yeah,
life.
okay, I see what you're saying. To lean into it is saying is what I should do. Yeah, and I don't know. I definitely don't know what that looks like right now. I've been kind of pulled different ways. I don't know. I just feel like since the death of my Lola, things have shifted in my brain a little bit, and it's like death is coming. Even though she lived till like 99 years old, you know what I'm saying? She was still very courageous about the things she did, planting churches and all that kind of stuff. So it's just interesting headspace that I'm living in right now. So. But let's take it back to you guys. You're the worship director. You're a pastor that preaches regularly. What does courage look like in the pulpit or in the music? If I were to go to Seron first, what does courage look like in worship? Is there such a thing as safe worship? How do we push people into deeper, braver expressions of praise?
You got me hung up on our last thing that we were talking about.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Well, let's wrap it up then. What do you think about the last thing?
I feel, I don't know, man. I feel like we're playing like a very safe-ish life, and God is calling us to go out into the community. That can tie into the.
That's
worship.
what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
yes.
know, but I like on this local level. I think it ties to the fact that I really don't think I have like any like outside sunlight non-Christian friends, and not just even outside sunlight, just like non-Christian friends. I don't know if this is
Interaction. Just
interaction.
forget
like,
friends. Friends is like what I want.
yeah.
Interaction is
Yeah,
like.
I don't think I have like that interaction. I do not.
I think the only place I have it is in jiu-jitsu, quite honestly. I think that's the only place that
I think that may be a problem.
maybe pickleball.
Well, even in pickleball, I ran
playing with
into a
Christians.
couple of them. I invited them to church, and they come. One of them came.
Yeah.
Came for a different reason.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Mine's the pool store and coaching softball
How often do you go to the pool store?
every week.
Jeez Louise.
Oh,
I don't
jeez.
need to. I know how to test the pool myself. I know how to take care of it, but I've seen those guys every week for a year. Yeah. And I invite them to church. They haven't come yet, but I've got relationships with them.
Well, that's my point. Is like interaction, right?
Yeah.
It's this interaction or opportunities.
Should you go beyond inviting them to church and just invite them to your house? Can you invite them to your house? You have children. No, for real.
No. I would. And like I bring my kids to the pool store with me every once in a while, and we don't allow our kids to say certain things, and these guys say all those things, but I don't keep my kids in the truck because I don't want them to hear it. I don't know why I'm saying that. Why haven't I invited them over to my house? Good question.
Because I think it's very courageous that Aaron, even if someone just popped in, he always invites them over to this house. I, on the other hand, I have this neighbor. His name is LG. I invited him to church a couple times. He hasn't come yet. We built a fence. We split the thing with a fence. We still talk. And inside, it was like, oh, you should invite him over to dinner. Like, this is something that happened. This happened like last month. Yeah. And then my heart's like, oh, invite him over to dinner. Invite his wife over. Talk to him. Invite him to church. And my brain's like, you have children. He can kill them. Don't do that.
You know what?
So in that moment, I was like, and my mouth was going to invite him. And my brain was like, to my mouth, literally to my mouth.
You know why though? So when I first got my first house, I was 21 years old, dude. I got my house for $80,000. It was the cheapest thing. I didn't know it was cheap, but I felt so inadequate to own a house. I prayed. I was so overcome. Like, I own this 3-bedroom house at 21 years old, and that's like an impossible reality today. I prayed to God. I said, God, thank you so much for giving me this house. I know I don't deserve this thing. May I use it for your mission. Like, you bless me with this thing. I don't want to use it for myself. I want to use it for. So, I mean, anyone who knows me for any amount of time will say that I've used that house it's been a haven for like refuge or whatever, people to come to it, and it's a tool. I see it as a tool. I don't see it as my house. I see it as a tool. And then I had Tegan, and I had a family and a wife. I felt so inadequate. I was like, why? How do I have this thing? Like, why is this part of my life right now? And it was the same type of feeling. Like, God, my family's not even mine. Like, my life's not even mine. If I'm going to help me use it as a tool, is really what I use it. It's a blessing, but it's also a tool for me, like, to push your thing forward. Now, of course, there's wisdom in there. Like, I'm not going to, I'll think twice before inviting some like sketchy dude over for my kids and stuff. So I'm thinking twice. It's not an absolute. However, that's why I think about it like that. I don't see my house, my whatever. These are just tools to me And sometimes I forget that. That's all. That's why I do that. I bring people over or whatever, invite people over.
Like, do I know my neighbors? I know like 2 of them now.
Yeah. Kelsey's got
And I haven't invited anyone over, and I felt called to invite them over. This little old lady that lives across the street, her and her sister, they're both old, and like they brought my children like a stuffed animal. I'm like, this is so nice, and they're very nice. They say hi all the time, and then once again, my heart's like, you should invite them over for dinner. I think that would be great, and like. Maybe they don't have a right to church because they can't drive. Maybe they'll like to come and Mary could take them in the morning. And my brain's like, nah, they might hurt your children. Like, literally. Yeah. So, like.
Major tip that I learned from Kelsey. Here's a tip that I learned from Kelsey. Play in the front. Play in the front. Bring your kids to the front of the yard. So, Kelsey has a lot of friends that are not Christian. I'm like, actually, now I'm thinking about it, just jogging. Like, she'll play in the front with the kids and stuff like that, and then, like, moms will, like, pop out like little gophers, like, you know, like, oh, you guys are playing, you know, like, so then she just has, like, a little clique of moms and stuff like that, and I don't know if they talk about faith or not faith, I don't know, but she has way more interaction, I think, with non-Christians or whatever than I do, and maybe that's just the nature of being a pastor and working at a church, I don't know.
That's funny, because that happened to us, too. We played with the foam machine in the front yard, and we had like 2 neighbors' children come and play in the foam machine. We've been at the house for 5 years. They have never come out. Yep. And the foam was like floating. And Mary's like, you guys can come play if you like, let your parents know. And they came and they played.
Yeah.
So play in the front yard.
That's a tip that I learned from Kelsey. Anyway, to wrap this part up, you guys have any last...
Courageous in worship. I think in terms of worship, I think we're like really set in like our sound and how the team is. So I guess being courageous in the sense of worship in my team would be like letting in people who may not have the same skill level that we have. So recently I've let in like someone younger, and he's like new to piano. We'll see how that goes. And in terms of the sound, what's like safe songs, I'm not sure what that means. I think all songs are safe as long as they're grounded in the Bible.
Well, that might mean like some songs people might like more or not like more.
Yeah.
Like, you know that we're pushing towards more Psalms, and is it courageous to play songs that people might not have a natural ear towards, or is it courageous that song has a sketchy lyric in it, or I don't know. Like,
I think it's courageous for Scott to try to make music using the Bible as its base and keep it 100% biblically accurate. I think it's courageous because it takes away a lot of the rhyming element that you need, and people may not like it. I'm people.
But on one hand, like, so on a cynical level, I think this is an absurd conversation. Because
is your thing recording that?
Likely. Is the green button on? Yep. Because we're talking about having courage to do something different in the community of believers. Like, this is it's not dangerous. Like, having courage to keep the sound levels at the same levels even when somebody complains about it because they don't like about it, or having songs that other Christians don't like. I mean,
the wisdom.
Tell that to somebody. Tell that to somebody like in the Middle East. Like, this is what we're doing. This is how we exhibit courage.
Well, this is part of what my conversation earlier is like. I feel like we're too safe.
Yeah.
Like, this is part of that conversation that like you brought it out. I'm back to that now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I circled back.
Like, why are we? Why is?
Because listen, having comfort and security is a blessing from God, and so we were born in this time. So courage is going to look different for us than it will be for missionaries in Nigeria. It's just the reality. And the kind of courage, like the physical safety courage, is not something that we have to worry about often. But the relational courage, right? Like maybe this is where it is, because this is the other side of that. This is an absurd conversation. The reality is, if you keep playing music that people don't like, people got options. Like, they'll go to any other church that plays what they want to hear. And that could result in like fewer people on Sunday, fewer people tithing, your ministry shrinking, your sense of self-worth and value and success and even effectiveness diminishing to where, let's just say that we decide we're going to play like 5 new songs and they're all terrible, but we're going to be courageous and keep going after it because we think it's right. And then none of us have jobs in 2 years. Yeah. There's something there that's lost, right? Because we can't provide for our families. We failed, all of that. So there's two sides.
Do you think that that's like the situation of most CRC pastors?
Not with worship.
Worship, leading, direction, budgets. I mean, if you think about what, like, how do they allocate their courage into budgeting or outreach or leadership decisions?
I can tell you the problem.
Yeah.
This goes back to Synod, where it goes back there, where they wanted to say we need to have another burn the wooden shoes. They keep everything like really insular. Everything is very like this Dutch culture. It's very like closed off, and they're not reaching out locally.
I don't even know what the wooden shoes mean. I don't know.
Oh, so this article that came out a long time in the Banner, it was from this guy, and it was when the church was in a decline, and like the CRC, and he said, guys, we are too focused on being Dutch. We need to burn the wooden shoes.
Oh, is that
we
a
need
Dutch
to reach
thing?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have wooden shoes.
What's that?
They're called klompen. They're wooden shoes.
So, I'm sorry. What?
Klompen!
Klompen.
Why'd you say it like a German? What?
Klompen! Klompen!
Yeah, they're
Not
just
Cuba.
garden shoes, but
I'm
it's
gonna
a
take-
symbol for
Okay,
Dutch culture.
it's a
Karen
symbol-
Decker still has Jake's wooden shoes.
I don't know what. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
like, I
There's
don't
this
They're wooden shoes.
this
dude.
place by us in Holland, Michigan, where you could go and you could get your name burnt on klompen, and then it would be like you put them in your house.
They used to work in like the
It's a
fields
place
and
called Dutch
mud.
Village. I would love to take you there sometime.
They used to work in fields and mud, so instead of wearing shoes, they would wear wooden shoes because you could just rinse them off.
They still wear them today in the garden.
There's boots. There's rubber boots. There's that.
Wooden.
Yeah, but rubber boots are good for Americans. Dutch people, klompen. Anyways,
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So where I think pastors today in the CRC really need to display courage is, first of all, in their own, just their own sense of mission and calling. Like, am I called to prepare, like only to prepare good sermons and so I can stay in my office all week? Or am I called to be a witness and to go out? Seminary trains us to be good preachers and so much evangelists. So I think there's that. But there's also like
But we are called to do that. Would you say that all pastors are called to?
all Christians.
Yeah, but some of them are scared to break up the dynamic of their church. So that's maybe
Which
that's
is
where,
back to what you were saying.
yeah,
with
the
Synod.
courage. Like you need courage to go out locally, invite other people in who are different than you, and then welcome them.
Welcome them into their worship, into meaningful areas of leadership and
Yeah,
ministry.
yeah. So you have to relinquish a form of control. You have to be open to their ideas and their opinions that will be culturally different than yours.
I'll tell you guys something. Both of you guys, I was a big hand in bringing both of you guys into leadership here, and I don't say that as like I'm lording that over you. I'm saying like when we were trying to think through leadership here. Okay, Seron, we got a little. We don't know. We got a little bit. We can bring a little courage in, and we got to let's see. Okay, he's got some kind of energy. He's got another way of looking at worship. We got to work with him, and clearly you had a different outlook on worship. Not totally different, but a little bit different and different enough, but still similar enough to where we're still aligned. And then Zach, like, okay, he's bringing. He's got experience from up north. He's got no experience down south. We need some courage there. So there was certainly levels of unalignment with just angles that you would bring in that we didn't currently have, and bringing into what I would consider highest forms of leadership around here. I mean, you lead the worship at St. Lucie West Campus. You lead a whole investment at PGA. We've trusted you with it. And that's what I think I wish more people had courage of, and what I wish for both of you guys and anyone else really is like, yeah, you're bringing someone in who might not align with you 100%. Maybe it's 75%. And then that other, 25%, like, yeah, you trust them, you trust God, run with it. You could do it better than I could ever do it. So I think that's what you're saying is like CRC pastors, us ourselves have to cross that bridge, cross that Jordan, right? Coming up to the sermon is like we need that courage to see it through, see the decision through, and be like, okay, just trust decision, apart from me.
You have to be able to be willing to welcome in people who may have a different viewpoint and idea than you.
Right.
You don't want to create this echo chamber. You want like diverse thoughts and opinions.
But
and I'm not
okay
saying
with
diversity in terms of color. I mean like diversity in terms of like the opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, diversity of opinion stretches over different culture.
But okay.
So like how we were talking in the pre-thing about like how you view like success and how I view success, and the way that I view it is culturally aligned with a lot of other Jamaican people.
And be okay with the outcome too, right? Like you've got the opinion and expecting a different outcome than what you wanted. So we could entertain a diverse opinion. At the end of the day, it's going to lead to a different outcome than what you wanted, not like mold them into like, this is what you will think, and hammer them into.
But that's how you can create like a really nice, like robust community. All these different opinions and ideas come together to make something that's more like complete and whole.
I think, off of that, that's where, if I was going to say, where's the place that our churches today need to have the most courage? It's to have the courage to take a risk and go outside.
Yeah.
To say, we have an incredible culture that has been established over many, many years. We've got a great thing going here, but we need to go out. We need to welcome in. We need to raise up leaders. I think that's the biggest place for us to encourage. And just thinking about the Multiply conference that's coming up in November, that's what we're talking about, right? Is that the reality is that our churches are declining. That's the reality. And in periods of decline, we go into safety and huddle mode, and we try to protect the resources and all that we've got, protect our culture, and our ability to think about or imagine risk and change shrinks. And so it's actually, in terms of like not physically courageous, but like culturally courageous, to say we have to let go or allow new people to come in to blend into this culture. And that's hard.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Scott talked about that at Synod. I'm going to use robust again, but he said that the CRC or the Reformed community has like this robust way of thinking about like the Christian faith, and we have so much to offer to the community in our systems and how we have like this set up.
For sure.
But we can't separate that from like the culture, I don't want to say Dutch culture and people, but you know what I mean. That culture that they have, they feel like these things are like intertwined together, but they're not.
Yeah.
Right? This is something you have to offer. And I said to Scott, when I joined Sunlight and I started like learning more about Reformed theology and stuff like that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so liberating, so freeing compared to like where I came from and how like backsliding and all that other stuff. I was like, I wish that like all Jamaican people could like know about this. It was like one of the most like liberating, freeing thing, and it's just not something that exists in like my community.
Yeah, he says it as this: the Reformed articulation of faith is something that we have a lot to offer. What you say, the world really.
Yeah,
and that's part of where I feel like
but who's going out into like the Jamaican community and offering this to them.
So when Zach and when we all think about like the decline in the church and decline in CRC, I really don't see it as a decline in church and CRC. I mean, it's true, and that's 100% the reality. However, I feel like it's more accurate to say there's a decline in spirituality in America rather than a decline in church membership. That to me seems too shallow of a goal or too shallow of a problem to attack, rather than there is a decline in spirituality, and that is reflected within the decline in churches. I have this weird conviction, and maybe this is part of the conviction with my courage thing, is like, I mean, apart from this, like this little, I think there's a lot of people are saying this online. This is what the kids are chatting about on X. Maybe there's some kind of revival happening, or some kind of spiritual awakening that happened. Maybe there's something in the spiritual soup that is like really bubbling here. I don't know, but I think that a decline in the churches represents a greater spiritual reality, especially in America. And if I don't think about the reflection of butts in seats and dollars in plates, I think about like what's the reflection of the American family. How does that reflect spirituality? How about the drug addiction opioids, meth, the what's the word? The cultural temperature of conversation online and offline. Like people are so triggered and not triggered. This is a reflection of spiritual natures and a spiritual maturity, I think. And so if we attack and are courageous about those aspects, then we'll see the church kind of flourish in the butts and seats and all of that. That's all like the side product, I think. I think Scott said it like this in one of his theses last podcast. Check out the 20 Theses episode podcast where he kind of goes through that. It says like we gotta shoot for something higher and bring the church into it. Like we can't just be like, hey, come to church, everybody. Like that's not what this is about. It's a greater problem than that, because there's a greater need spiritually, I think, within ourselves, within people around us, in America in general.
Oh, he also said it in our meeting we had. It was like one of the points, and went on a little more. It's like the church is like in a decline, like spiritually in attendance, but it's also the greatest time for opportunity because there's less people in church. 100%. So like there's like the opportunity is out there.
Yeah. That's
so
big.
on a
It's
local
like,
level, you need to like go out there.
Maybe that's what it is too. Is like I know that there's a great opportunity because I know that there's spiritual decline and spiritual need. That's a great opportunity. Why am I not in more situations to like address
it's
this?
It's like, oh, the church is on decline. How are we going to get people in church? There's less people in church, so there's more people to come.
Yeah.
That's less people. That's like great.
I think you're right, Aaron. I'm glad you steered it toward. It's not about butts and seats. It starts with each one of us and our own ability to reach to people like who aren't actively walking with Christ and going to church. And so, we at PGA, we got this grant to do some kind of outreach project. And initially, we were all talking in one of our staff meetings about like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we did this big thing, right? Like this real big public thing. And I've been thinking about it, and it's like,
consistent.
So you know what we wanted? We wanted to buy like a food trailer for Sunlight Smokers, and then go around to like police stations, place when there's like disasters, and serve food.
Okay.
And just have it everywhere. Like we're driving this truck around smelling up Port St. Lucie with barbecue, and we were just so excited about that. But then I sat back and I was like, how is that going to be an outreach? Like, how are we actually bringing people into contact with that? I love firefighters, I love policemen, all first responders, but that's not going to translate into them like, dang, they made some good ribs. I better go to their church, right? And then I thought, oh, the most like boring, underwhelming kind of outreach that we could do is to fund home groups, like community groups at home, where people are reaching out to their neighbors, inviting them in. We're talking about impact. Those big flashy things aren't going to do it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's the steady, consistent, boring, regular, interacting with people, invite them to your home, that's going to do it long term.
Simple. Right? Easy.
When I was younger, I remember our church having like a Bible study that was for like people who like needed to be fed and they could bring their whole family, and the food was like there. It was like, how did they like somehow partnered with the soup kitchen, the family come in and eat, and there was also like a quick like devotional and sermon happening at the same time. And that happened every single week.
Yeah, they have several of that here in Port St. Lucie.
Really? We don't do one right though, right? No. Yeah, that I feel like.
But I'm thinking it's more like if you've got neighbors who need meals, like to invite them regularly over to your house to develop a relationship with them. Because then when they come into the church, Aaron, you've told me this before, like people need 7 points of connection.
This number has changed so many times. 3, 5, 7.
It's 5. Okay. That makes it easier.
Yeah.
So then, if they're coming for the food is the connection point. And so that doesn't happen every Sunday. But, if we're the connection point, our family's a connection point, then we bring them in and keep them connected.
Yeah, for anyone who's wondering, just so it's clear, 5 points, and I learned this from Growing Young. It's a book on like youth ministry. They said that when a youth kid comes in, they need 5 friendships or connection points or relationships, so that if they only had one friend, if that friend doesn't go, they're not coming. But if they knew the friend, two youth leaders, another person, and the youth director, like if 1 or 2 of them go, they still feel like this is their place. So that's essentially how someone belongs. They expand on that. At church, this is how we belong. And so if you want to grow I think you're right with like small groups or home groups or community groups, what we're calling them, is if they come in and they meet like 2 or 3 families there, then they go to church, they got 2 or 3 families there, then they meet the pastor, that's 4. And, you know, like 5 is arbitrary, right? Just a lot, right? So, yeah, essentially that's what that is. Yeah. You got a thought?
I'm just thinking, I just got to invite my neighbor over for dinner, dude.
Yeah, so what are some action steps? Let's wrap this up here. What are we thinking here? As far as courage for a Christian, as far as courage for a regular old Christian who comes to church and a pastor. Let's go there.
You know what has also happened? Courage. I think that because of the news and all that stuff, it makes you not want to invite people in your home as well.
I think so.
So it's like, it's actually made you more fearful. The news has like instilled a sense of fear and makes you want to stay within your little Christian sunlight bubble and not branch out and find new people, because you're like, can I trust this person? Especially if it's different if you have kids. Can I not? Because you're not just saying, can you trust them with yourself? Can you trust them around your children? And society is saying no.
But if you think about it, your children are not yours. That's how I think about it. My children.
Well, if I look at it this way, Brielle knows. Andrew was saying this. Brielle knows so much about the Bible. She sat there and she told me the whole story of Joseph from beginning to end. I was like, this is amazing. So like, how can she evangelize to someone who's in my home and I wouldn't even like know it? So it's like
there's also a maturity level, right? They know what they know, but you don't want them to be swayed. There's a I'm not saying like, that as like carte blanche. Just put anyone around them.
I'm using her. Yeah. I'm shielding her when I could be using her as a weapon.
Yeah.
A weapon for Christ.
Go, little assassin. Go.
Yeah. So in my fear, there's in my, if I was to exercise courage, who knows what God could do? Wonder what God could do.
Yeah.
Right. That's like one of the things. So
I think steward is there's the language that I use for my kids, and so I definitely do think they are mine. Yeah. Like I know they're God's.
Yeah.
But He's called me right now to raise them up, to prepare them for that time when I don't have that same influence.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're not disagreeing there.
And so we're not talking here about like just driving around and seeing who you can randomly invite to your house.
Right. No, that's not.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you've told me about how much acid my pool needs for the last 6 months. I have some kind of a rapport with you. Why don't you come over for dinner? Yeah. They're not randos.
You know how weird that is too. That's what I mean. It's like you're the pool guy and you have this customer and he's like, come to dinner, and we're like, sure. And then the anxiety level of them coming in. Should I bring something? Should I not bring something? Do I take my shoes off? Do I not take my shoes off?
It takes courage on their part too.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's really good.
One thing that I've learned that's very helpful for when I invite people over, especially new people, I set rules and expectations, and they love it. Because what they don't love is not knowing what to expect.
That's so true.
So
when you invited our family over, you told me where to sit.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful for that.
Yep. Yeah. They shuffle around. I'm like, no. You sit there. You take off your shoes. You bring something to share.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy. I mean, it's not like wear red on this day. It's not like that. It's like that's something that's been very helpful. As someone who's invited a ton of people over for the first time, set the expectations and set simple, silly rules. Mm-hmm. So that's what's for me.
So a takeaway.
Yeah.
A takeaway I think is even though we may not have loads of occasions where we need to act courageously right now, I think we do like what soldiers do. Soldiers put in the work every day to prepare for those moments when they need to be courageous.
Yeah.
And so like we need a regular regimen of making sure that we're in Scripture, that we're worshiping regularly, that we're practicing generosity and giving, and that we're praying, like doing those things, getting closer to God so that we start to stick out. So in those moments where He calls us to stand out, we're ready to do it.
I think that when you said there, when he calls us to stand up, when he puts something in front of you to do, I think for me, it also, another level of that is like when I feel angst and I feel called to kind of chase something down that doesn't exist yet. It didn't come to me. I feel some push or motivation to go forward to something else. Yeah. But we're not saying something that's mutually exclusive for sure. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode on the Disciple Standard podcast. If you want to know our link to Patreon, it's down below. These two have a heated debate, it's hot takes on how to raise their kids and the extreme differences that they ran
It was
into.
West Michigan hot. It wasn't that hot.
It was great. It was great stuff. There's some insults thrown. We'll see. Just check it out. You have to subscribe to that one. There's some other things about being grandparents on Patreon and cryptocurrency and all that kind of stuff. Also, if you want to sign up for the Multiply Conference, it's in November, I think 8, 9, 10, 11, right around there. And the links are in the description. Would love to see you hear about the new vision for the CRC, the church, and spirituality in America. Thanks so much for watching. Sultan of Sound, the Wise One, and I'm your anchor man. We'll see you in the next video.
The future is now.